My daughter, my almost 3-year-old daughter, goes to preschool at the JCC in Maitland. And I don't know how many of you went to Jewish schools at any point, but they don't celebrate Valentine's Day the same way they don't commemorate Halloween. Instead, the JCC designates the entire month of February for Ahava, for love. And this is a preschool. These are little kids. So obviously they're talking about sort of love more broadly than the kind of romantic love that some of us might mark tomorrow night. But thinking about this and then thinking about the ways in which the Torah discusses this idea, it got me thinking about the varieties of love that we see and experience. And obviously, the first version of love that we experience as the children walk in, which is actually prescient, is the love between parents and children. This is the absolute embodiment of unconditional love. I hope that you all know the way I know that there is nothing I could do that would make my parents not love me. They might be angry. They might yell. They might be very forcefully displeased with something I or my brothers do, probably my brothers. But regardless, I know my parents are going to love me. And the same goes, I hope, for my children. My son and my daughter and I have our disagreements, often about bedtime or bath. But at the end of the day, I hope that they know that my wife and I love them very much and without any preconditions or without any doubt. That's sort of the first version of love, the one that I hope that all of us are acquainted with. I'm going to come back to this idea of parental love later, as it relates to the sort of paradigm of the love between Hashem and the Israelites, but we'll come back to it. The next sort of version of love we have is fraternal love, bond with our siblings. How many of you have siblings? It's very different from the relationship we have with our parents, because instead of sort of going on parallel paths, the reality is we don't really know our parents. We know what our parents choose to show us, but parents have their own lives, which they should not show their children. Our siblings, we're on the path together. Whatever is going on in our lives, in our families, in our individual families' lives, we're going through it together. We're the most likely people to remain in each other's lives forever and have each other's backs. And that extends to the privileges we have. For example, I'm allowed to say publicly that my brothers are absurd and ridiculous people. But if anyone else says that my brothers are absurd and ridiculous people, even if they are speaking the truth, not okay. It's my privilege. I get to back them up. That's the next kind of love. And the last one, or actually the next one I want to talk about is love between friends. I hope that you are all in a place or can get to a place where you can tell your friends that you love them. I have friends that I've known for 35 years. I can tell them I love them. Male friends or female friends, doesn't really matter. It's not romantic love. It's love between the people who have gone through so much of life together. You can't have too much. I hope that you get to this point. Love does not divide when it is extended. It multiplies. It's like when you have multiple children. You don't love one more than the other. Your love expands to fill the space in your life. And finally, of course, there's the romantic love, the version of love that the Valentine's Day allegedly celebrates. There's nothing that makes life more worth living, of course, than having a partner and best friend with you. I was listening earlier today to Les Mis, because it's Les Mis, and the finale says, to love another person is to see the face of God, which I thought it's always a great line. And it's just as, Valjean dies. And I also thought it was a really good segue. I do want to talk about God a little bit, not just the idea of love. This week, we read Parashat Mishpatim. And there's a lot of really good stuff in here. Things that are morals that we really should emulate. You get the idea of leaving a field fallow once out of every 7 years so that the fields regenerate. That's good. It's not just good practically, but it's a good, lesson to be learned. There's an insistence that you are an honest witness in a trial, regardless of who the accused is. There's a prescription against charging fellow Israelites any interest. All that, great. But I know that the relationship between God and humans, God and the Israelites, God and Jews, is often compared to that of parents. But is the relationship of God to the Israelites unconditional? That's not really a hypothetical. I'm asking you. What do you think? I'm a teacher. I do nothing if not teach. I don't know that it is, to be honest with you, unconditional. In fact, it's exceptionally conditional. He says over and over again, in Shemot 23:22, which is part of this week's Parashat, Hashem tells the Israelites that if they, quote, do all that I say, I will be an enemy to your enemies and the foe to your foes. That's great, except for the first part means if you don't, implies that if they don't do what Hashem says, they're not inheriting the promised land. Well, that's not this week, but it's kind of. So he destroys the world. Yes. Not exactly the same, but you're in the right ballpark. In other words, Hashem is here using his power, affirming his power and his might, but also his determination to only use that if the Israelites pledge loyalty. Humans are often said to be made in Hashem's image, and I think that's true because the version of Hashem we get in the Torah is human, or is infused with human qualities. Love and generosity. Hey, guys. And vindictiveness and pettiness. And as we go into this week's period of rest, I want us to keep in our heads the ways in which we should be like God and the ways in which maybe we should lean more into the direction of the month of February and the month of love. Shabbat Shalom.